Hey everyone, how's it going? So, let me turn down this volume a little bit so it's not too loud for you guys. So, wow. So, like I said, I let the dust settle and I wanted to sort of ascertain what type of information, you know, you guys understand what I'm talking about. Information that isn't propaganda from either sides, and it's, even now, it's still impossible, okay? So, I'm not going to really come here to have you guys draw conclusions on what's going on in Europe or anything. That's really up to you guys. Like I said, there's not enough evidence either way what's going on, but let me just tell you guys what I think about this. So, I think anybody who's promoting propaganda either way is a scumbag. And Jonestein, if you guys don't know this, if you guys just woke up yesterday and didn't realize this, but Jonestein is literally the paragon of right-wing propaganda. I mean, it's honestly unbelievable, and it's a right-wing tribalist propaganda, right? Because when you say right-wing, that's a lot of different people encompassed into one little group. It's tribalist right-wing propaganda. You know, the Habab Lubavitch, you know, the Jared Kushners, those type of people. Jared Kushner, what do you mean? Look at who Jared Kushner is affiliated with. It's all extremist right-wing Jews. Okay? And it's the same with Putin. Look at who actually runs Russia, guys. Putin is just a front man. He's just a strong front man for whatever they want to do. And that's totally obvious if people will step back and just try to, you know, be as ambivalent as they can on the subject and try to put aside their presuppositions, which is hard to do, obviously. It's hard to do with anything. We're human beings. We come into research with our own conclusions, our own beliefs, our own false premises. You know, it's just what we do. But Russia is controlled by right-wing oligarch Jews. That's a fact. If you don't want to believe that, if you want to believe that, you know, the only people in this entire world who can't take over a country are Jewish people, then you know what? You can live in a false reality. You can live in a false paradigm all you want. But at the end of the day, look how many communists took over Russia. Think about it. And yes, we can go into the history of who those communists were, but think about it, people. Was that even a tenth of the percentage of the population? What was it? Can we really say that there were that many communists in Russia during the Red Revolution? Of course not. It always is a small group of people who gain control over countries. It's been that way. Look at the mafia in the Americas in the 1900s to 2000. Look at that. In the 20th century, look what happened. There were groups fighting over territory. You had, you know, the East Coast, which was mainly Jewish and Italian mafia. Then you had the West Coast, you know, well, there's a little bit of Irish mafia in the East Coast too, right? And then the West was almost exclusively owned by the Italian mafia. California, that stuff around there. And part of the Jewish mafia, that was mainly in Nevada, and that was like those gambling type areas around there. They had their own little cliques, they had their own little clubs, and they always fought over territory. But they would also make treaties as well. So people, step back and understand this. That Putin is not a good man. It doesn't matter about the circumstances of what this is. He's a criminal. He's a gangster. He's a thug. Get that through your head. He's a thug. And all InfoWars is doing, since the 2016 election, and this is why they get called Russian propagandists, right? Instead of, you know, the proper term, right-wing tribalist propagandists, because that's what they are. They've been pushing the same propaganda since the war in Syria. They literally, InfoWars was one of the first people to come out and just lionize Russia. That they were just, look at them, they're taking out all the terrorists. They're taking out all of our enemies. They're doing the work for us. Yeah, while Israel is in the background, literally helping arm these people and hospitalize them to go out and kill American soldiers. Where is that on InfoWars? Exactly. So just step back and understand the bigger picture here, guys. Russia is just one of the heads of the Hydra. Okay? The United States may still have the biggest head in the Hydra, but China's next, and then it's Russia. It's pretty simple to understand, okay? The gangsters control the major countries. It's been that way. And literally, go on InfoWars, guys, and you don't have to watch a lot of videos. Just watch any video that they talk about this subject. Alex Jones, Owen Schroyer. They had Leo Zagami on there, if you guys don't know who Leo Zagami literally said that Russia's fighting back against the New World Order. I'm not kidding you. Leo Zagami said Russia is not part of the New World Order. I mean, give me a break. Talk about disinformation, right? That's not misinformation, because they know exactly what they're talking about. They know who's controlling the Kremlin. And guess what, guys? We sit there and we repeat this propaganda that Russia keeps pointing out that, oh, look at NATO surrounding Russia. Oh, look at poor Russia. Everybody, look at the poor Russians. Guess what, guys? If NATO didn't surround Russia, Russia would have taken over Europe during the Cold War. That's a fact. Face it, it's a fact. So because they got bullied back into a corner, now they're the victims. Oh, guys, we only massacred 100 million people in the last 100 years. Oh, look at the United States. They killed like 20 million. What a joke. You are falling for Russian propaganda. Literally. And yes, the news media likes to, repeat that nonsense about everything. Anything that's not somewhat centrist or even somewhat left-leaning, they'll say it's right-wing Russian propaganda, or, Trump was a part of the Russian. Because the people who actually control it, they're not going to talk about. Who controls Russia? Who controls the United States? Why is it a tiny little country in the Middle East can get every single bit of intelligence from the United States, from Russia, and China with no problem? Why is it that a state that's literally half the size, not even, less than half the size of the state that I live in, has that much power, has that much influence over the world, where our world leaders will go to their country and bow down and worship their false god? Think about that. Where our elected representatives and officials will go out to AIPAC and literally worship Israel like it's a part of the United States. And I know there's a lot of people that push around the argument that, oh, it was a Cold War satellite. Well, guess what? Yes, Israel technically was a Cold War satellite. That's the only reason we supported them after the foundation of the State of Israel in 1948. But guess what? They have always been their own state. They have never been overwhelmingly pro-United States, pro-communist. They've always gone with whatever makes their state succeed, in their opinion. That's the truth. Look how many times Israel has gone against the United States. Look at the USS Liberty incident. Look at all these incidents through all the Jonathan Pollard case, where Israel literally has spies in the United States and nothing really happens to them. Could you imagine if that would have been a Russian during the Cold War? Could you imagine? But no, it was an Israeli. It was a Jew. Jews are just so peaceful and loving. How many people actually know that before Reform Judaism, which literally happened in the late 1800s, Jews were more extreme than Muslims? Does anybody know that? Does anybody know that that same ideology is still worshipped in Israel? Does anybody know that the Israeli state, besides maybe 2 or 3 cities that are blue, is overwhelmingly red and far right? So far right that they literally want to kick Palestinians out of their territory. How many people actually know that? How many people actually know the circumstances behind this? So you got these morons, right, pushing Russian propaganda, which is in turn really just pushing pro-right-wing propaganda, which in the end only benefits a certain group of people, and it doesn't benefit us. So while we get our attention off of this whole COVID nonsense, while we get our attention off who the real people are who are controlling us, we're talking about this. We're talking about how we should worship Putin because NATO. Big bad NATO. Right? Think about it, guys. Step back. The picture is bigger than you think it is. It's always that way. Whenever you see something that's published in the media, step back and try to actually do some real research. That means looking up facts that you may not think are convenient to your belief or your premise. But you know what? At the end of the day, you need to have all the information you can before you make your conclusion. Otherwise, you're just going to be a parrot. You're literally just going to be a parrot. And I know I'm kind of preaching in the choir here, because a lot of you guys are pretty highly intelligent, and a lot of people articulate, pretty intelligent comments in my comments section, and they've always done that. And that's one thing I've always prided myself on. I don't censor comments, dude. I literally, my last channel had 3,500 subs on it. Never once did I have YouTube promote my videos. Never once did I monetize it. So I got those 3.5K subs organically, okay? Through going online on forums and promoting my stuff and saying, hey, check this out, I never once deleted comments. There were literal National Socialists and communists in my comment section, arguing with each other. But it never got violent. It never got to the point where there was ad hominem. They were discussing ideologies. Isn't that insane? But according to the world, that can't happen. According to the media, that can't happen. We shouldn't even entertain beliefs that go against ours so far that they're considered extreme. We should just throw out all quote-unquote extreme beliefs, right? Even though the truth is as extreme as you can get when it comes to anything. The truth is the ultimate discriminator. So, if you guys don't believe me, seriously, just go to InfoWars, listen to Mr. Owen Schroyer, that moron that Jonestein hired about 4 or 5 years ago. Go listen to Jones. He does literally what he does with Israel with Russia now. And he never used to do that before 2015, before Trump got in the running. It's almost like, maybe instead of it being Russians that controlled Trump, maybe there's a group that influenced Trump, even if you don't want to believe, even if you want to believe that Trump is his own man, right? He's still influenced by prominent people around him, okay? He's totally ignorant to a lot of things, and that's obvious. So he has to take other people's information and make his own decision on it. The people he surrounds himself with are the right-wing extremists, tribalists that are in control of Russia right now. That is a fact. If you don't want to accept that, then you aren't going to accept anything except for propaganda. Then you shouldn't even be researching. You shouldn't even be looking into it. You should just put your fingers in your ears and just say, la, 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 listen to Fox News, listen to InfoWars. Listen to the Daily Mail, Daily Wire, whatever right-wing, Breitbart, another one. And trust me, these are the same people who, when they used to come in my comment section, they used to call me a Nazi, okay? They used to call me a Nazi. Think about that. So don't sit here and pretend like I'm a leftist or something. No. Trust me. My beliefs are too extreme even for the extremist conservative right wing. Right? The free speechers. And then, okay, I'll end this here, but did anybody notice how... What is that new site that Trump's promoting? The free speech site? Is it Give, Send, Go, or what? No, that's what is it? Getter. He's promoting Getter, and all these people are. Did you know that they said that the only group of people they're gonna ban on Getter are Nazis? You don't believe me? Look it up. The only group they said they would censor on their platform is Nazis. Isn't that the whole problem with YouTube? That they're saying they're only censoring extremists when they don't? They just censor whoever they want to and arbitrarily enforce their rules? Isn't that the whole problem? But no, we should be promoting Getter. They're free speech. But as soon as you, say anything less than 6 million, you're an anti-Semite. I don't have an auntie named Semite, but I'm an anti-Semite. It's anti-Semite. Jonestein, okay? Can you even understand the English language correctly? So, I'm going to end it there. It's just this whole thing is so frustrating because I step back and I know that the people who run the United States are criminals. I know that the people who run Russia are criminals. I know that the people who are in control of Ukraine are criminals. But it doesn't matter to us. Because our little echo chambers, our little bubbles, will just promote whatever propaganda makes us feel good. And then they have the audacity. Jonestein and his little Owen Schroyer have the audacity to say, oh, look at free speech. Is Russia the one censoring free speech over here? Yeah, where do you think we got the idea from, guys? Russia was an experiment that these people literally used this country as an experiment on in the 20th century. And now they were slowly implementing it in the United States because they know there's a lot of resistance here to that. And they know there are a lot of people here who would rather die than to have a country like Russia who's run by oligarchs. Putin has been in power for 23 years. So I'll just end that there. Like I said, I may be preaching in the choir here, but there's a couple people who just subscribed to me who may not know this, who may not know who truly controls Russia. So I ask you and I beg you, please don't listen to me. Go out and look up independent research. Go up and look at who Putin surrounds himself with. Look at the people who mainly found or funded Putin and helped him come to power. Look it up. So, I believe that is it. Yesterday I tried to make a video, but for some reason OBS wasn't working. Then they had an update. So I think that's maybe why it was fixed. I don't know. Maybe it was just my mic acting up, but it seems to be working today. I tested it and made sure. So, should be good to go from now on. So, I believe that's it. Take it easy, guys, and I will see you next time.